We know that Alabama just lost their begging to the Supreme Court to allow them to disenfranchise black voters. Florida is bragging about how they actually pulled it off. Let's go to that because they're still battling this as well too from Politico. The ongoing federal trial is separate from a different legal challenge in the state court. Although both primarily focus on, there was a politician that has lost, Lawson, his dismantled seat that they're trying to fill. In the state case, a Florida circuit judge ruled early this month that the redrawn district violates the state's constitution and ordered the GOP-led legislature to create a new map. That ruling has been appealed and will be taken up by a state appeals court later this fall. This is early in the year, and I think they're now taking it up as we go into a fall. So either the state or federal case could result in the map needing to be changed though. So they've got all kinds of influences going on, but they're still looking to go to what they did before Ron DeSantis did to get Florida where he needed it to be. These are some of the victories that I think he always talks about. The seat that they're looking to fill was held by Representative Al Lawson until he was defeated in 2022. And this is the old map that was used up until 2020. And the district in question, as they're trying to redraw, is that blue one that goes horizontally across the top of Florida. Now, this is what the new map was, and it's also in litigation, where that blue section, which apparently would focus on, or at least franchise many voters that they're trying to get rid of, look where it goes. I think that was not by accident. It's weird how that works. DeSantis was saying this about their redistricting process. In case you didn't go from the visual of it, this is him telling us. As a Republican legislator last year debated a map that would have kept a black performing district in North Florida, DeSantis used social media to say that it would be DOA if it was passed. He said this about black voters. After vetoing the map, DeSantis directed aide Alex Kelly to draw a new one and submit it to the legislature, which approved it in a special session with no changes. That sounds democratic. DeSantis also said that Florida was instrumental in them, the House Republicans, even having the majority. We delivered a red tsunami in Florida that gave them an extra 4 seats. That's the story of the midterm. That's what Ron DeSantis said. So all that talk about the red wave and he mentioned a red tsunami. When they talk about it to voters and on TV and Fox News, what they'll say is, so many voters are voting with the Republican Party because we connect to the regular man. But they don't point out that he said, the reason we did that is because we changed the redistricting maps to eliminate certain voters that we don't care to appeal to, and we actually don't give a damn how they live their lives. Just keep paying us taxes while we disenfranchise your vote, because that's America. One last part, Republicans won 20 of Florida's 28 congressional districts in last fall's elections. That's a 4-seat pickup for the Republicans, which helped the party regain control of the US House, which by the way, Ray, look what they're doing with that control in the US House.
Right. Shutting down the government, apparently. I will say, DeSantis's camp is essentially arguing that he wasn't trying to disenfranchise these black voters in North Florida who have, had their, their political voices heard through this district for 30 years. He wasn't trying to silence black voters. He was just trying to redraw congressional lines around geographical boundaries. But incidentally, geographical boundaries don't vote. Black people vote, people vote. Some regional, geographical feature doesn't have the capability to go to the voting booth. There's a reason that and they are framing the argument as this doesn't make any sense. Look at this weird strip. It doesn't resemble any of our other districts. And that's the argument, essentially, the losing argument, by the way, that they were making in the state court. It's the losing argument they're making in front of the 3-judge panel in federal court. And hopefully it will be ruled. I'm assuming it will be. They'll follow suit and say that this is unconstitutional, as the state court did. But I mean, there is something so deeply evil to that argument, because I think a lot of people are easily tricked by it, because like I mentioned earlier, they'll say a weird shaped district and they won't quite understand why it might be shaped like that. But again, geographical features, land doesn't vote. People vote. Yeah,
it's outrageous. And by the way, I want to give that one little part about that, because we mentioned the Voting Rights Act, and I remember this from a Guardian article that pointed out this really thing. It's not in the graphic, but immediately after that decision to then allow them to not historically racist and states that disenfranchise particular voters, once that was lifted from them having to actually adhere to allowing people to vote or giving them that right, Immediately after the decision with pulling back the Voter Rights Act, Republican lawmakers in Texas and North Carolina, 2 states previously covered by the law, moved to enact new voter ID laws and other restrictions. A federal court would later strike down the North Carolina law, writing that it was designed to target African Americans, quote, with almost surgical precision. Still doing it, and they don't care that you see it. They're like, well, we're racist. What do you want from us? The racists voted us in. We're gonna start keeping our power. That's how they operate.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.